Gragas would make a lot of sense, but you always have to take into consideration the Braum with the shield can actually make it very difficult at times to knock people in with your ultimate. That's always going to push Braum and those behind him away. So it can make it tougher for Grig.
All right, the North American special. Nocturne, of course, still left up on the table. Has gone down in priority quite a bit over the last several months, but still a plenty powerful champion. And Cloud9 going to keep playing aggressively. Lots of heavy roaming available now as a Nocturne can get across the map. Looking for the top laner.
Yeah, and their strategy does become really clear once you have these ones locked in, right? Because we've had Sneaky on this Quinn over and over again. Where it really shines is later in the game, after the laning phase, when he's pushing out these lanes really quickly. He can roam with the ultimate. Nocturne is so good at picking people off, you know, between that ultimate. Plus, during Nocturne ultimate, makes it difficult for the Shen, no matter who's playing it, to be able to help out their teammates. So Cloud9 looking to get those pickoffs. As you said, Phreak, even Ornn, with his ultimate, is super long range. Yeah. He can set up those kills.
And I think that Nocturne ultimate, the timing of it is so critical. Not only is shut down the Stand United and teleports, but also Kaisa. If you actually are trying to have that Kaisa diving in and Nocturne ultimate comes out, you cannot get vision to actually dive in and support your team. So if that gets messed up, it could be a big deal.
Yeah, I definitely would rather see a Nocturne ult early for the darkness and vision denial, rather than save it for later for the perfect jump onto the squishy.
Even has some counterplay against Sion as well. Pops the ult, you hear it globally, and you go, all right, lights out. Good luck drifting without being able to see any champions. Could be valuable. Either way, the draft is secured, and Cloud9 with a lot of unusual champions that you don't often see anymore in League of Legends. Zilean, a bit of a Jensen special. Quinn for Sneaky, very much the same. But TSM, cream of the crop in a lot of places. Gragas, very common. Akali, really sought after as well. Kaisa, the most played of the split for Zven as well. Gonna be exciting to see if C9's more sort of individual champions are gonna work well for them in this draft.
And specifically, I am looking at Blaber, the rookie of the split here. He is on Nocturne. This is a feast or famine champion. We've gone over so many times, you know, how North America really does kind of over-prioritize it even to some degree. Early on, can it be very influential in the lanes, looking for those kills. But again, if you don't find success in your first couple of ultimates, you will fall behind and become very useless for team fights later on.
And so the coaches leave stage up to the players now. The mid lane matchup very hyped, and across the board, all stars on both of these teams. Cloud9 and TSM into game one of the semifinals. Welcome to Summoner's Rift. Game one in a best of 5. Cloud9 coming in as the favorites of the audience as well. The second seed of the North American Summer Split, fighting back from a 10th place spot around week 2 or 3. This group of 5 has done so much work here now, battling against the most historically dominant team in NA history, TSM.
Yeah, we haven't seen Cloud9 in quite a while, because they went so far, because they got that bye. But remember, they won their last 8 games in the regular season. Right now, they're already starting it off, though, and Zeyzal gets his done.
This is going to be such a tight series, I think. You know, and you talked about the pressure on Blaber to perform, but I also think there's an incredible amount of pressure just on, as we're going to actually see a fight here.
Yeah, a bit more across that one, but mithy's going to walk away, no stun. Zeyzal, though, very injured, and has to recall maybe into the lane.
I like how mithy said, I'm not done with this trade. Goes back in for the support on support, and he gets a little bit extra.
Yeah, and Zeyzal, if he actually doesn't base, he's going to be down a potion. Yeah, so he's just going to stay out on the map and pop a potion for this leash. But a lot of pressure will be on Grig also. There's constantly focus on TSM junglers. There's constantly a lot of public attention, and he is a brand new player to the LCS here as well in his first playoffs with TSM, and expectations are so high. Even though they got knocked out in quarters, people are still expecting it's finals or bust for TSM.
Very true. People already seeming to forget that TSM also went through a jungle change with Mike Young, you know, taking in his spot on the Academy roster. Grig coming in to take over. One thing Grig has been extremely good at for TSM later on in the game is stealing big objectives. Yeah. Barons, buffs, dragons. Steph Curry, actually, even a recent investor in TSM. Nice to have some of those eyes on this game as well.
Eyes on Zven, as we know, in this one, and with his trademark Kaisa, should look pretty good in this. Sneaky, though, the Quinn has taken several nerfs over the course of time. Still happy to play that champion. It's something I very much respect as a player who's historically always been one of the first to gravitate onto new things. He's very successful with it so far. I am excited to see what they can do with this. I imagine TSM has scrimmed basically none against Quinn and might have a hard time keeping up with it. Nice trading by Bjergsen. A lot of damage on a Jensen.
Yeah, that tower shot evening out a little bit. We have to remember this is Corrupting Potion plus, he does have Inspiration secondary, so it's going to be a lot of healing here for Jensen to actually kind of take some of those disadvantageous trades. I also have to say, as you were touching on, it's such an advantage to be playing something that not a lot of other people play because you're not necessarily confident on how to react to that champion. You haven't played against a lot of Quinns.
Almost landing the second bomb there, but it's still going to be damage towards Bjergsen as they trade back and forth. Now it's just up to the biscuits as Jensen has chugged through the rest of his Corrupting Potion.
Love watching these two great players lane against each other. You can see how quickly the combos come out. And as they slip into even the obscurity there, able to get the slow, landing bomb number 1. So some career matchups between these two guys has been extremely exciting following it.
Yeah, and very close overall. A couple CS in Bjergsen's favor to separate them, but very, very even overall. These guys have really been considered the cream of the crop of mid laners in the NALCS for a couple years now. But it has always been Bjergsen coming out on top in those big games. And it's actually been since 2014 that C9 has not won a best of 5 against TSM.
Knocked out in finals several times, and then earlier a couple weeks ago, or a couple seasons ago. All right now, though, pretty close holding pattern. Nice little trade on the bottom side. Doesn't land the Q, the slow's too much. Zeyzal getting with that one, losing a couple hundred damage, but it is at least punishment towards Zven. Doran's ring Kaisa, so it's actually less sustained with this kind of a build, but it does have a lot of mana to keep spamming spells.
And I do like the teamwork there. That was just a little example of TSM working with Grig, the new guy on the roster. They call the jungler down. He's there for them to just clear out the ward in case something happens. Even though he's channeling his recall, he allows them to get that sweeper off, and he's around if there is some sort of confrontation.
I think these next couple minutes in mid lane are actually going to be fairly critical because Jensen did spend all his mana, took an early recall, buys a Dark Seal, and he's back out to lane. If you get ganked with no teleport at this time, before Bjergsen has even gone back to base, it could be very, very detrimental to the rest of your laning phase. So Jensen's going to have to be really careful in that mid lane for the next couple minutes.
Well, I think Licorice might be heading back to base and using his teleport very soon as Hauntzer gets the better of that trade on Sion. Sion definitely does have a very strong lane phase, and Ornn's was taken down recently, but mid lane.
Looking at the play right here. Will it be a body slam flash? Predator is on. Body slam, no flash. He wanted to bait it out of Jensen, but he held his nerve, and now the potential regank. He's done a half, out he goes.
That is nerves of steel there from Jensen. Just like I was talking about, if you die there with no TP, Bjergsen gets a big buy. He maybe takes over that lane. He didn't even flinch.
And I like where these, kind of poker plays come in. You get to test the mental of your opponents. Is he going to pre-flash, thinking the Gragas flash is also going to come in, or hold on to it like there? Typically,
now a trade in the bottom side. He's going to take a fair bit of damage, get nearsighted, he's going to walk away.
Typically with Jensen specifically, he relies on his ability to dodge skill shots, dodge ganks. We have always complimented him so much for specifically his movement in lane and being able to get out of a lot of those very dangerous scenarios without having to use big cooldowns like your flash.
It is good to see that confidence, even in a matchup where there's so much pressure on him coming in against TSM, against Bjergsen, with all the history there. He is not flinching.
So taken out of the turret in this case here, as level 6 have come around though, so volatility can go up. Blaber level 5, the same for Grig, fighting over the scuttle in the top river. We'll see if they get a fight for it. Smite comes through, Grig is 6.
All right, Azael, I want to play the next level of the poker game with you then. If you are Jensen and you see Grig come by again through mid lane for a gank, he body slams as close, do you flash the second time? Or do you hold on to it for the rock, paper, scissors, calling his bluff again?
I feel like you have to flash when he's 6 as well, because then even if you get your ultimate off, I think you're not getting back to the tower.
Well, speaking of bolts coming off, though, a knock up there. There could be nowhere to go, and Hauntzer's going to fall. First blood to Blaber.
Bad eyes on Blaber, rookie of the split. First ultimate, as soon as he gets it for Nocturne, he is up to the top side, he converts on it, and he gets the kill money.
So big there for Nocturne. You talked about how important it is to get going in the early game. You get a kill on that first gank. He's able to complete the warrior. He's going to get it rolling. And here it is one more time. The Ornn ultimate is ready. Nocturne is moving up towards that top side of the map, so they know they want to go for this play.
And remember, these are two young guys. Licorice is just on the team this year, and he's converting right here, flashes over the Sion, comes in immediately with Blaber, and they execute the kill before Hauntzer even has a chance to flash.
Yeah, and Licorice did that flash to get in front of the ultimate to stop him up, because otherwise he's unstoppable, doesn't get stunned by the Ornn ultimate, so nicely responded to there.
Beautiful stuff out of this.
See it a lot with people preemptively using their flash rather than the Sion ultimate sometimes to try and expect that and get out of those. But we return back to the bottom side as level 6s are also coming in here, and you have to remember that Shen, once he hits level 6, can actually change those top lane fights top side as well. So even though there was a semi-global here used for Cloud9, the flash from Licorice that was blown offensively to get the kill can also still be punished, even though that was a good use of it, if they have Shen go up there or something.
Yeah, and if you want to return to the top for Hauntzer, you have to be so confident that you will kill him off before that Nocturne ultimate expires and Shen can come in, because otherwise that can get turned around completely.
Now, a little bit of tension down this bottom river as Grig and Blaber trade blows. Spell shield used on a regular barrel, but I'm not worried about the explosive cast here as the wards go down, and Cloud9 get a bit of vision themselves.
Yeah, they're rotating up from bottom lane over to the Dragon as well. Looks like they were thinking about the Infernal.
Right, they've taunted Nocturne. Could this be the burst damage they need? The shield comes up for Zeyzal. He jumps back across the wall with the flash. But Gragas is going to find his cast, and they get that kill picked up. Grig now on the board.
Grig answers back so quickly here, and there's your level 6 on Gragas. They get the kill, and this is a bigger one because Infernal Drake is on the table, and they're starting it up.
Yeah, that was so well done, and credit to mithy for starting it out. Knew they could win that 3v3. Should be there Infernal. Neither top laner is looking to actually join in. We'll see if Sion wants to do anything, but I don't think they really have much of a chance.
Yeah, especially with the wards over here. TSM are able to see Sneaky, deny him a pathway to go mess with Grig. So even though Grig's getting low during this Dragon, his team is screening for him. No one will interfere, and TSM will claim it.
Beautifully done. TSM get that collapse after the mid lane shenanigans. Zven and mithy got the push. They got that kill through.
Yeah, here it is one more time. They knew they were around in this brush, but TSM is coming from above Blaber, so he's just walking straight down and then taunt straight out of the brush, catches Blaber, and the follow-up here from Grig was beautiful.
It definitely was, and Blaber had no spell shield, I believe. That's why we didn't see it at any point during that replay. Not quite sure, I don't remember what he used it on.
He used it earlier in the river, just on that regular barrel when he was chasing him, so it may have still been on cooldown from that.
It is a very long cooldown, upwards of 20 seconds there, and a good job by mithy taking advantage of that opportunity. Still fairly close here as far as the early game, though. Blue buffs have been handed off to the mid laners, and Jensen trying to stop Bjergsen's recall.
Takes a turret shot for the trouble, but doesn't make that happen.
It's going to be interesting to see how defensive Jensen decides to go into this Akali and Gragas, who do have a lot of upfront burst. He did rush a Catalyst, so probably going Rod of Ages here to start things off. A little bit more HP instead of a tier, so you can't get burst down as easily before your ultimate comes out.
And as excited as we are for this matchup, the Zilean pick into Akali is mostly about countering, not dying. You have your ultimate to stuff the all-in kill, as well as just getting as much sustain as possible and farming it out.
And also, you really are able to give some, I think, kind of continued relevance to that Nocturne, who is very often a one-way trip in that late game. He can dive in, make space, you ult him up, he comes back up, and gives you more of a chance to have that big team fight impact.
While just fighting continues in the top side, and despite the assist going to Licorice, there's really not much excitement happening up there. It's the tank matchup. It's kind of what you expect. They're both playing for the team fights here. Mid lane has gone pretty equal, and we've, of course, seen that bot lane kill a little while ago. Curious to see who the fan thinks is going to win this one as time ticks on. Equal in gold for both these teams, but TSM up that Infernal Drake. All important. It's going to feel pretty good. Gunblade not far away for Bjergsen. The item's still scaling up in the bot lanes.
It looks like Blaber is really kind of getting ready to make a play here as he actually purchased up a stopwatch very early on. So he grabs that stopwatch, he has his ultimate ready. That to me says he wants to fight. We'll see where he's going to look though.
Maybe Maybe top side. Keep in mind that Shen ult is still available for mithy, so this holding pattern is not going to be easy for Cloud9 to break.
But the crab also spawning topside.
Oh,
Could
dead
be a
even
visit
almost.
over there. Yeah, Cloud9 actually taking over now in the chat as Blaber goes for the invade. He drops off a ward, but he's been seen on the way out.
He sees the opponents coming across
Predator.
as well. He's going to be pretty safe with Predator popped. Going to kill off a ward, be spotted still. No ganks topside.
They could fight over this. I mean, C9, they have 3 members in the area. I'm not sure if they want to actually opt into this team fight, though. Looks like they're going to back off.
Yeah, it is a bit scary with the burst potential of level 10 Akali plus a Gragas. However, Cloud9 do have a couple of the answers now already. You mentioned the stopwatch, Azael. They picked up early. You can turn that later into your Guardian Angel. But that, in addition to the Zilean ult, would allow them to buy time.
This is really nice, though, from TSM. As they see that Blaber was on the top side, mithy immediately invades, gets multiple wards on the bottom side to protect them from any potential Nocturne ultimates. So they are pretty well covered and have done a good job tracking this Nocturne, and Blaber hasn't been able to get his second ult out just yet.
Now Grig actually adding more objectives to the map right here. He's tied Blaber in kills. He's already grabbed that Infernal Drake, and now it's going on Rift Herald. And it's Grig actually having a better early game than the rookie of the split in Blaber.
Yeah, and Blaber, speaking of him, he's right over those wards that Azael was mentioning mithy just put down. So they know he's bottom side now.
The bombs.
That's a lot of damage. Bjergsen's getting low, heals up with a Q. Oh, attack now!
shit.
Gets the ult from mithy, staying alive, but a great fight out of Jensen.
They hold that ult till the last second. Otto's in the air. You can imagine the team comes from bottom side now.
Because there's no Shen around anymore. He's going to flash and get away. That should be just survival as Zven gets out, but now it's time for turret pressure on the bot side.
Super good ult there from Zven. He ults to get to the other side and then immediately flashes afterwards for a large distance. However, Cloud9 have the momentum.
Yeah, they may just be able to straight up take this turret. So much pressure gained there from Jensen. He makes the support come mid. They get the flash bot. They're going to get their first turret, and Jensen making a big difference.
Look at mithy, though. He's coming down the river for TSM to cut them off.
The taunt, he's got flash. How many's going to hit? A nice vault backwards and sneaky. Going to make sure we got enough space to get through it.
And remember, this game is all about a cascading effect of one area on the map winning, and that's spilling over to the bottom side. Jensen with the 1v1 plays on Bjergsen in mid lane. Let's take a look at how he got low in the first place, because this prompts the rotation from mithy from bottom side up to top side, which allowed Cloud9.
Oh, during the replay, 3-on-1, Nocturne ult not even used. Zven finds himself alone and shut down.
A great play, knowing Zven has no flash, no ultimate, no way to get out of there.
We can try and play the mystery game here. Maybe they're just waiting in the bush.
That's what I would
The
guess.
old classic.
Don't worry, we're going to have an Ace of Predator replay coming up to show us what happened. I promise. As Bjergsen knocks down the minis in the mid lane.
Well,
All right, well, now they're making you're a liar, Phreak.
Well, I was told Arthur's the liar.
All right, here it is, our Acer Predator replay. Down on the bottom side, we see they want to go for this one more time, and just sneaking back around into the brush. mithy looking out to roam, and I assume Zven just stepped a little bit too far up.
the greed, when the greed hits. One more wave, please. Cloud9 says, no way. Sneaky and Zeyzal back out on the warpath here, roaming around, but so are mithy and Grig, clearing out the wards together.
Well, Ocean Drake is alive, and the rest of the team is available. Bjergsen got his ultimate, but so does Jensen. mithy, the only one missing one here. Revealing the Ocean Drake, the Shen taking it up, and getting lower on that Shen is not necessarily ideal.
Yeah,
Getting around though, Ornn's walking topside still.
Yeah, they already have 5 members here for TSM in place, controlling the Drakes, looking to get number 2. A teleport could come in for Licorice, but it's a bit too late if they wanted to make the call to actually stop the objective.
And TSM on the Drake, they grabbed that one without issues. And now the question is, does Cloud9 hit anything topside? Because they chose to send Ornn back up there. They really didn't fight for the Drake.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to get a little bit of a minion denial from Hauntzer, but it's not going to be too big of a deal. And credit to TSM for actually just getting the vision around the dragon, being able to set that up a little bit better. And Hauntzer won't miss too much, just a little bit of turret damage.
Interesting situation we have here. Slight gold lead for Cloud9 with the extra tower down versus TSM's 2 Drake control. Pretty powerful Drakes as well for themselves. But again, look at the vision that Cloud9 are trying to move up into TSM territory. Sneaky on this Quinn also aiding in that there with the W active, revealing TSM.
Ooh, top flash gonna find Braum. Zeyzal puts the ulti down. Nocturne comes in as well. And there's a Sion behind them. He's teleported through. Now Licorice will show up on top of this one. And fight's gonna start. Ornn comes across, finds a knockup on the 2 in the bot lane, but Grig is still pretty safe. Licorice will have to flash this wall, but he's gonna wait and buy some time first. Waiting for his reinforcements, maybe waiting with the Zilean open to bait this as well. Over the wall goes Bjergsen. Licorice gets revived. Bjergsen in the stealth, staying alive. mithy over the wall now. Looking for round 2 as a knockout comes in. Will they find that kill? Sneaky knocks down Bjergsen, and the team stays alive. 1-0 Cloud that, and they're not done. Watch out for Jensen, has to flash backwards. And a vault on a mithy, down under 1,000, but able to walk away. Cloud9 1-0, out they go.
Walking on the razor's edge here. Cloud9 over the back of the dragon wall. Revive Licorice. I was wondering, how long is he going to hold on to that flash? Just to the very end, they get the kill and they got out.
So ridiculously close, and TSM are going to drop the Rift Herald, but C9 is actually here ready to defend this, so the Rift Herald shouldn't get too much done, and TSM definitely losing out pretty big on that.
That was an incredible display of trust in your teammates and communication in a very convoluted 5-on-5 situation.
Yeah, and here it is one more time. They want to try to knock down Grig. You can see the early use of the stopwatch to buy time there from Blaber. And then here's the situation, kind of just dancing back and forth, trusting that Zilean will save him.
Yeah, and they're throwing range damage over the wall while he's waiting, while he's reviving. This whole time, they still have eyes on him. Bjergsen goes over, they get the kill, an immediate flash out with sub 50 HP there.
The juxtaposition of the C9 fans pumped up, TSM fans not
Deer in
impressed.
headlights. Whew. An exciting game, though. Only 800 gold separates the squads, and TSM still with the Drake lead. This game is close.
Yeah, and Sneaky, the benefit, picking up 2 kills there, is now on 2 completed items. He has that Shiv, as well as the Stormrazor, going to be a ton of upfront burst with Electrocute as well. He can start getting out to those side lanes, looking for plays around the map, and we'll see how effective he can really be on this Quinn.
Heads up there as well. Heightened senses, spots out that Shen and Gragas were waiting in the corner. There's a man who knows how to play Quinn. He pressed W, didn't get ganked. I know many players who would make that mistake.
Champion master.
Doesn't even cost mana. People would still get that wrong.
I know one of those players standing right next to me.
Yeah, to your left or right?
Left.
To the hint, that's me. For those not watching. Either way, still a very close one. Back into the bird form. Sneaky's going to find something else to do. Looks like he might be the big impetus now. Him and Blaber, really, those are the ones that are hyper mobile, able to get around the map. No teleport available for either top lane tank. 3 minutes to go for both of those cooldowns.
And as the towers start to drop and we get into the mid game here, remember the champion select and what Cloud9 are looking to do with all this mobility. TSM trying to defend their turrets right now. They have to be worried about transitioning between turrets, because you can see Blaber, he's hovering in the river, looking for an ult top, now looking for an ult mid, trying to get that opening.
And he's got that rank 2 ult, you know, both Sneaky and him do, which is going to increase their mobility, increase their ability to engage, you know, kind of from further away. If they can hit this double bomb, may look to go in, but not just yet.
Ooh, it's Bjergsen going in and getting the shot on top of him. This is going to be a 2-on-2, and it's not enough to kill up Jensen. He's got the ulti still available. Nocturne will pop for some vision denial. Gragas still coming across, though. Can they get the revive? Yes, Nocturne goes back up, but Jensen will burn down. Bjergsen finds the kill, and it's now time for Nocturne with the re-engage. Quinn picks up 1, looking for a second. A knockdown from Zeyzal. They pushed in Blaber, but they can't quite find that kill just yet. Shen comes around for this fight, maybe, but he's still in the river. Looking for that kill. They're not going to find him just yet. They're staying alive. Looks like it's just the 1-for-1.
mithy was staying around to try and get relic procs to heal his teammates there, but almost went down to the Nocturne Q.
That was so close. And both the top laners actually, I thought Hauntzer would already come through, but it's his TPs gets canceled. Both the top laners' TP gets canceled there, so that was a ridiculously close fight.
This game is certainly delivering on the history of these two North American great teams. Teleports are coming in to actually get them back on the field right now. I don't know if I have more action to cut us off, but what an exciting opener here. Only 21 minutes in so far, and everyone's still on the edge of their seats with gold very close to even.
Yeah, this fight was really, really close, and honestly very well played by Bjergsen. He buys so much time with the Shroud.
Yeah, and also I think that second bomb from Jensen was a bait to have Bjergsen commit so that Blaber, you know, could have the collapse 2v1. But again, mithy Shen keeps turning those numbers. And then here in the second area, he goes to use the revive on Blaber, dying himself, but Sneaky comes in to save the day.
Yep, both top laners had those TPs canceled, so they could not join in, and C9 so close to finishing off mithy there. As you said, mithy coming in to try to proc the Targon to heal up some of his teammates, and look at Sneaky's burst now, 3 kills, adding a BF sword on top of those 2 items. But one thing to talk about in that fight is we talked about how early you want to use that Nocturne ultimate. The fact that Blaber did delay allowed Shen to come in very, very early in the fight and really turn things around. So you have to be very clear about when you're looking for the fights and very quick to pop that ultimate.
On this time, though, it worked out. TSM able to get their trade kill for what could have been a bait. Worked out all right. We once again have a very close one here. Only 900 separating, and TSM still in the 2 Drakes, but a mountain has spawned. And TSM's gotten all of them so far. We'll see as they have got everyone out the bottom river. Sion's going to come in. He's going to find his damage towards Ornn as Gragas takes down the mountain Drake by himself. So that's going to be 12 damage for auto attack in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Blaber's got a control ward in there though, so Cloud9 have vision. Sneaky topside with no way of joining though means TSM might just get their 3rd Drake in a row.
Yeah, Sneaky's just going to keep pushing. I think C9 is just going to try to get control of mid lane, buy time for Sneaky to potentially look for a 2nd turret. We'll see how quickly he decides to come down though.
And this is important. When we have teams with split push options like this, oftentimes they'll throw the plan out the window in the mid game as soon as someone dies. Cloud9 here committing to it, and Sneaky might get 2 for his troubles.
There are a lot of TSM members moving up though. He has to be pretty clear about when he's going to back off.
Kaisa can ult across, so Nox going to rejoin, but Sneaky's going to jump right into the opposing team, and a shutdown for Grig. The trade kill not going to come in as Akali joins in. A knocker with a back line. Can they kill off Zven? Licorice will do so, but another one has fallen as Blaber has been taken down. Licorice will revive, but he's going to be alone underneath the turret. Cloud9 separated, a cast from Grig, brings in Zeyzal. Licorice trying to run on the Ornn, but he's got nowhere to go. Surrounded by TSM, they surely have the damage, and it will be a team fight won by TSM.
TSM get 3 kills for themselves, and Baron is ready. Grig already starting it off. They've made the call, but they've called him back. The rest of the team says, that's a little ambitious, my friend, and he just goes to Scuttle instead.
Yeah, and it really was all started off by Zven. Sneaky stays up a little bit too long, gets tagged by the Kaisa here, and this means Kaisa's going in. Shen is delivering as well. Such a good engage from the bot lane duo.
Just look at that shot from Zven too, right around the minion. Barely tagged Sneaky to start this all off. As you said, Azael, everyone from both teams comes in to join this fight, but the trickle in just kind of adds to it for Cloud9, where they were already down a member of the team at the beginning, and they were never able to catch up in numbers. Sneaky, though, back out on the field, trying to push towers down.
And it was also their guy who has most of the gold, right? When you lose your 3-kill Quinn that early on, it's going to be so difficult to actually win that fight. We'll see how carefully they can play this out, because that long-range engage from Kaisa is available if you can hit that W.
Yeah, and you definitely don't want to do that into other members of the
nocturne.
team. That was exactly. That was the perfect opportunity there for him to use it. Even though Zven didn't get
Tokyo Drift.
Even though Zven did not get that kill, Kaisa now is into the stage of the game where you have Rage Blade, and every consecutive item you're building on now does so much for her team fight damage, and TSM are going to have a couple of different options for these team fights as far as the delayed starts here with Akali and keeping that Kaisa safe so they can deal out damage for the entirety.
It is always so scary though. Not only are you against this Nocturne who's doing pretty well and has a lot of damage, but Nocturne can be the bomb delivery system, which just adds a lot of damage on top of your ultimate. You throw a bomb on Nocturne's head, Nocturne ults in onto Zven, and if that pops too, that's another couple hundred damage on top of your kind of, one combo potential, which does make it very difficult for Zven. So much is going to come down to, can he stay safe and be protected in this team fight to really sit and get those auto attacks out?
Oftentimes, too, it's such an interesting decision between the extra damage of a bomb on the Nocturne head or using the double for the stun. It depends on how many people are really close, but the towers are starting to fall, so we have more room for those fights to work with. Remember, Cloud9 still have not lost a single turret.
Ooh, Sneaky's on top side. He did get spotted, but good use of the W.
Exactly. Spots Grig himself, but you mentioned the fact that there's no turrets killed by TSM yet. This game is 300 gold apart, tied in kills, 3-0 on turrets, but only 300 gold apart. There is a ton of standing gold available to TSM. They have been taking the Drakes while Sion are pushing lanes, and those advantages are going to stick with them the entire game. This feels like TSM are in control to some degree.
Yeah, they're in a pretty good spot. The question just becomes, like, will they ever get to take those fights? I mean, C9 has the Quinn who's going to be better in the side lanes. They have a Nocturne to support those side lanes, and that can be tough.
We're looking now in the mid lane. Licorice going to take a bit of damage, not yet knocked up by Hauntzer, but the rest of the team is still coming down. Now maybe turning it around as Jensen shows up. But it's a 2v3 in the mid lane. TSM able to walk away cleanly.
And both of these tanks for each team have the spammable shield, so it's difficult to get lasting damage on these guys, even if they are the ones that they're starting out the fight on.
C9 may look for a team fight now. They have 3 items complete on Sneaky. IE came in.
Yeah, IE spike's going to be a big deal. You can see the Ornn horn came through, but no fight to be had. TSM cleanly walk out.
Yeah, Cloud9 have to abort mission after that one. They whiff the Ornn ultimate. That is a huge part of their AoE team fight. Right now, TSM have plenty of time. They've got Bjergsen splitting on top side. This Akali wants to get to that level 16. Once Bjergsen can get that last rank in his ultimate, he can have a huge impact. And you mentioned how important Sneaky is, Azael. If Bjergsen, level 16, Akali can get on top of him, then there will be no more gold to use.
Yeah, no MR on Sneaky whatsoever. He has that Braum to block. He has the revive available, but you know, he's depending a lot on his teammates to kind of keep him alive. And we'll see if he wants to go into something like a Hexdrinker to help with that potential dive coming in later.
All right, well, once again, we look back across the map. Jensen, 16, Bjergsen not quite there as he shoved in mid lane. Looks for Krugs and comes back again. Blue's going to be handed off to the Zilean without much of an issue. We look for TSM's locations. They're all kind of on the past side of the map. Lots of recalls that come through. Zhonya's completed. Pretty important spike there for Bjergsen's Akali.
The rank 3 ultimate for Zilean is always so big as well. With this much AP, you're essentially bringing back carries at full health. You know, it's almost 1,700 HP you're brought back with. That is more than Sneaky has. That's going to be more than Blaber has. So this is really, really strong at this point in the game. It's a full second life.
And another Drake is about to come up. 15 seconds on this Infernal. Drake number 4. And this would have to be, you would think, where Cloud9 would put their foot down and put a stop to this TSM train.
Pulling the team together. Sneaky coming down the river, waiting around in the mid lane, taking a bit of an aggressive path and maybe hoping to bait something out. Bjergsen's still not 16, worth pointing out, but Hurricane is done on Zven. So 3-item spike for both bot lane marksmen here.
So big. TSM really wanted Bjergsen to that level 16 for the ultimate. Still haven't been able to get it. I wonder how much more he needs. It's going to be actually a couple more minion waves, especially if he's sharing with the rest of them.
Cloud9 starting to create some space. Those bombs, that poke over the wall, there's not that same kind of utility for TSM trying to push them away.
And the top lane has been set up by Sneaky, so that's going to get to the turret very soon. Nocturne is clearing the waves on the bottom side, so TSM would need to engage now if they want that 5v4.
Cloud9 playing the map quite well. Mid lane now being pushed back and forth. TSM first to push, but the bombs coming down should equalize that. But it means that TSM now have river control for this little bit of time. Scuttle towards Cloud9. And Grig's going to pull aggro. A nice knockup from Hauntzer on a Zeyzal. And Akali's off in the wings behind the wall. Is he going to find the flank towards Sneaky? Bjergsen's going to look, but he's on top of the controller. Now they know that he's there, and Licorice will hold the left side of the flank. Dragon still taking lower and lower, though, down to 2k HP. It's going to be a smite fight, picked up there by Grig. Ornn comes across. They still wait for Akali. Hauntzer in the front line. Once he engaged coming through, they pull Shen on top of him. He's going to look for the back line. They can't yet find it. He's got no one to kill, and a first resurrection comes through. Now a trade as the Zonians pops in for Hauntzer, but the Sion will die pretty soon. They've knocked down Blaber. 1-0 TSM, and they're walking away with more members on this one. C9 trying to re-engage, though. Can they find someone to kill? Hauntzer can't get back over the wall. They've got a knockout towards mithy. The shot comes across. Bjergsen rejoins. They're going to find a certain kill as Jensen gets one, though, on his Zven. It's a 4v4. Zonians for mithy, but a bomb is on top of him. He's going to fall over. A double for Jensen. It's C9 who's won the fight.
And C9 could head to Bear potentially, but their jungler is down, so probably just going to go mid lane, shove this up. There are some pings from TSM on Baron, so they are worried about it, but what an extended fight. That was so close.
Yeah, definitely tough to keep track of all the revives possible here. The Guardian Angel now going to be on cooldown for Blaber, and he did go down in the end after Grig already secured the smite for TSM, so that means 2 Infernal Drakes now for the late game scaling for TSM.
Yeah, and C9 really kind of hesitating to go in at the start. This is this dance back and forth for so long, but in the eventual play, Blaber doesn't even really contest the smite. It is Grig getting it without Blaber even being in range. So Hauntzer doing a good job buying time. Bjergsen always threatening that roam, and that created a lot of room for them to work with.
Yeah, Blaber walks up there, but Hauntzer able to land the Q, and then he soaks a lot of damage, and Bjergsen goes in, kind of zones the backline of Cloud9. You can see Sneaky didn't get to enter this fight, and Cloud9 were very separated there. When Blaber went in, and then Bjergsen and mithy were able to cut off the rest of the team.
Yeah, Sneaky doesn't even join the fight before Blaber had died 2 times. But then they have that 4-man squad. Sneaky's still healthy. They have the Zilean ultimate to bring back up Zeyzal, and all of a sudden they can turn it around.
And Jensen killing off Zven there. The Kaisa going down first for TSM was so big in allowing them to get the second kill. But again, TSM continues to stack up these Drakes. So while Cloud9 still have control of the map, they still have not lost a turret, they still have the gold lead, TSM have a lot of power waiting in those buffs.
Yeah, and we do like to talk a lot about kind of hitting critical mass on an assassin when you can one-combo someone as they're looking on Hauntzer in the mid lane.
Gonna ult away from this one, yells cowards, and realizes he's talking to a mirror, but stays alive. 2,000 gold, though, puts Cloud9 ahead. That is battling against the double Infernal Drakes, though, of TSM, and I feel like the stats are similar. C9 do have a bit of Baron control. It's their own control inside that pit. They've got some aggressively across the jungle as well.
And Licorice is pushing bot lane. There's no one from TSM to answer him just yet, so TSM, you know, struggling a little bit to deal with some of this side lane pressure. It feels like they are usually a step behind on that, but they have been good in the fights, and their farm is very, very healthy here.
Nice toggle on the fog of war you can see here from TSM's perspective. They don't have vision.
Licorice is coming.
They're gonna go for this play right now, looking for the knockups under the back line. They're gonna try to assassinate Zven, but he's gonna kite away and stay alive. Blaber's gonna be careful, but Grig is caught along with the Zonias, and he's gonna flash away, staying up for this one. Now Licorice on the front line. A big knockup, not gonna be found for Hauntzer, and they could chain him down. Under 1,000 HP, he's gonna walk away and ult back out as well. No casualties, but lots of low health bars.
Yep, lots of low health bars indeed. All the tanks walking away in the end, and the junglers as well. In the end, we still have the pushing minion wave on top side though, and as Azael points out, there's a Warbox on Licorice, so you know
they're going for round 2. Bjergsen, he nearly one-shot Sneaky. He's got to get out of this one. Bjergsen can't quite get the rest of that kill, but it's going to be hard to team fight without a marksman now.
Jensen has no ult.
They're going to try to burn down Licorice. They get one. mithy gets the kill, looking for Jensen as number 2. Can they chase him down? Not quite, but it's Cloud9 now stuck inside, recalling towards their base.
What a big teleport there from Hauntzer, and the re-engage for TSM gives them control over the Baron pit for the first time.
Yeah, I think they're going to just straight up start this up. Sneaky is going to be flying out there very quickly. Jensen is back with his ultimate available, but that Baron is going down quick.
Blaber is going to fight. Jensen's going to go for this one as the Baron's at a 4,000 HP. Smite is available. Can he get in the pit? Can they fight for it? Into the front line that goes them. Sneaky trying to get his kill. He'll be revived, but watch out as Bjergsen wants to find someone to kill. Zeyzal's going to fall. Sneaky caught alone. He's taunted. That's a 2 for 0. Make it a third. TSM cleaning up the map.
And TSM are going to get this Baron. It's just Jensen alive. They get the kills. They'll claim the Baron. 4 dragons to 0. Well, they have a stranglehold on this first game.
With this Baron buff, TSM have so much gold to claim on the map. They haven't taken a turret yet. They can basically mine these things like gold.
Just filters under their base. Zven getting richer. 361 CS, despite being against a marksman who can fly across the map. It's been better farm for Zven's Kaisa. We can watch that Baron fight once again.
And this is, again, with Licorice already down, Sneaky's already very low, so as soon as the fight is going to start, you're going to have to use that Zilean ult onto Sneaky, which means no one else can really be helped.
Yeah, Cloud9 had no front line because Licorice was the guy who got killed, so they have no one who can soak damage. That ends up being Sneaky there in the front line. Then you have to kind of juggle aggro, use the ultimate from Zilean. In the end, it's not going to be enough. TSM starting to take their toll, though. Mid lane will be first.
That's going to be the turret falling. TSM now 1 on the board here. Will there be a C9 re-engage? They got that fall, a bit of a slow towards Hauntzer. A stun as well as the minions can fall, but will it be much of a chase? They're going to try, actually, to find themselves a single kill. A flash for Zeyzal's going to stop that one. But here comes the re-engage, knocked into the back line. Another Shen ult used to keep them alive, though. And they're going to get that kill on a Hauntzer, slowly but surely. No, he flashed away, and that Sion is still alive. He's undying in lore and in the game. As now Blaber's running away, looking for another re-engage towards Grig. Here comes the flank in for Bjergsen. He's going to look for Jensen. Does he have the damage? He does. But it's a 1-for-1 as Kaisa has fallen. So the fight must continue. But look at the damage towards Sneaky. Does get burned down. TSM winning yet again. Zeyzal's going to drop. Licorice now left alone. A triple kill for Bjergsen. And he's got to look for his fourth. It's a very tanky Ornn, but he is not getting away from this one. TSM 4-1 in the team fight.
Elder Dragon is available. Baron buff is still on them. TSM have all the options in the world to go with, and it's going to be right down the middle.
They can go right down mid, get the inhibitor, and then potentially go straight back for that Elder Dragon. 4 dragons to their name. Hauntzer, just a raid boss there in the mid lane. C9 committed everything and they couldn't get the kill.
If you lose a fight with the enemy team wearing Baron, you have to give up so much afterwards. The push is immediate, and TSM are already inside the base.
And that is inhibitor down, and respawn still a few seconds away, so Cloud9 not going to join much of anything as the teleports come across the map and TSM conglomerates down towards this Elder Dragon.
Bjergsen now 7 kills on the Akali. Got to come in later in the fight, pick off a bunch of the low health members, not having to worry about the Zilean ultimate anymore. And TSM on top of it will be able to claim the Elder Dragon buff on their way out.
Bjergsen just recalled with 3,500 goals, so he's going to have another item to his name, but here it is again. Look at all the commitment here onto this stone plate Sion. They use everything on it. Blaber then starts to dive backline because they think Hauntzer's already dead, but then they don't even have enough damage to grab Hauntzer.
And that was a great ultimate from Grig as well. He splits the team. Sneaky flash in. They knocked away the rest of them with Jensen to the bottom side, and that allows Bjergsen on an assassin. The perfect battlefield to come into is one that is completely split and in chaos like this. That is where an assassin can shine. He was set up, and it looks like the fans have also changed places here. We have the reverse.
We have the reverse, and TSM are kind of pulling off these multi-step fights where you have to force a Zilean ult out on someone, and then Bjergsen is trying to maintain the rest of his cooldowns to then attack someone else. So you see the Zilean ult goes on Sneaky, and then instantly Bjergsen is diving onto Jensen, diving onto the other targets, and trying to knock them out of the fight.
And looks like TSM wants to keep going. You can see how good Bjergsen's been on assassins. The all-star he's been for so long in his career. Puts a lot of game into his hands, and 7-2 looks like that again.
And specifically Akali there with the graphic, you can see 19 KDA from the single game big carry. Here they are though, trying to take care of some structures as well and finish off game number 1.
And Bjergsen bought a full death cap after that last fight that they just won with double Inferno with the Elder Dragon. That is an insane amount of damage that he's going to have. He's almost at 700 AP on this guy, and he is going to be absolutely shredding through Jensen and Sneaky.
Here comes the push. Top lane inhibitor turret going to fall. An 8,000 gold Baron power play, and will it be a team fight? Nocturnal pops. Braum's as well, but it's Cloud9 not willing to pull the trigger. They're going to cede more of the base and give more to TSM.
Yeah, remember the Elemental Drake stacking from TSM earlier in the game? Well, it pays off when you get a late game Elder Dragon. There's 0 chance that Cloud9 can fight them while they have this much true damage at their disposal.
But they might have to. In comes the dive to the back line. Can't quite kill off Sneaky, but right now he's invisible, so Bjergsen's going to be okay. The kill's going to come after his Licorice. 1 for 0. And in the 5v4, great knockback for Grig. Will knock down the Guardian Angel off of Blaber. 1 turret falls as well. So now a limping C9 must try again, but Quinn's already been deleted, and they're going to lose this one as C9 stuck inside the fountain. Another double kill for Bjergsen. 9-2 on the assassin. They're going to knock down the rest of the base, spend a bit of time like Vitality hitting people on the fountain, but this time they will knock down the Nexus, and TSM leads the semifinal 1-0.
What a way to start off semifinal weekend here at the North American LCS. Cloud9 out to an early lead, trying to snowball with the Nocturne Quinn, but TSM able to put a stop to it. And then the assassin in the mid lane shining, but also kind of the untold herald here, Zven on Kaisa doing a lot of work with the most damage dealt in the game.
I've also got to give a lot of credit to Grig. He was 2-0-14 quietly that game. He was involved in all but one of the kills. He is there, you know, answering ganks from Nocturne early. He's pressuring on the other side of the map. He's getting the Rift Herald. He's getting all these dragons. And Grig, I think, Mark talked about one of the win conditions he felt for TSM was kind of Grig controlling Blaber and answering Blaber, and I think he did that beautifully.
And him setting up the battlefield for the assassin to come in was so big too. The Gragas ultimate really, really well played, considering there's a Braum in the game that has Unbreakable that can make it very difficult to use that.
Yeah, beautiful stuff out of Grig. Beautiful game out of TSM to get that first game victory, and now to get their thoughts on how game 1 played out. Let's hand it off to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Phreak. As per usual, C9 TSM series never disappoint, but TSM comes out on top in game 1 between these two teams. Let's take a look at the draft first, because I think we had a lot of questions around, especially with C9, kind of the unique stuff that they had pulled out throughout the split, what they would come in prepared with, having had a bye, and some knowledge of what TSM played in their quarterfinal series.
Yeah, they did a lot of things that were C9 towards the end of the summer split with the Zilean and the Quinn early on. They also dared Bjergsen to play Akali, which they probably shouldn't do again.
It looked okay for a little.
Yeah, the lane was going well.
This was actually a very close game, but I would say when Mark and I went over win conditions at the start of the day, almost all of my Cloud9 win conditions isn't what Cloud9 did this game. They didn't pick for late game solo lanes. They actually weren't that proactive because TSM was able to just walk to every single Drake, and they didn't play that aggressively bottom lane. So I was very disappointed in what C9 brought to the game, and I thought they looked a little scared.
I love what TSM did. They followed my win condition. Ban Kendrick, control Blaber early. The Drake control, I'm surprised that they were able to get 4 out of 4 Drakes with the fact that their bot lane got dove and kind of lost their turret early on, and there was some pressure around the mid lane. And then, yeah, they mostly used their counter picks for getting good team fighters and things like that. So, hey, I was pretty happy with it.
And talking about the picks, in particular, I want to take a look at that top lane because we saw the first successful gank from C9 come into the top lane, Ornn versus Sion. But as we scaled throughout the game, we kind of saw just the prowess of the Sion pick play into the team fights quite well.
Yeah, so, I mean, Sion is one of those champions that even when you gank it, he's going to have this, like, insane team fighting because he's just so tanky. And compared to a champion like Ornn, who's more of a engager than he is like a true tank. When you have these team fights, it's going to be really hard to kill the Sion, especially when you're running something low damage like Zilean and Quinn.
Yeah, and I think the game was very back and forth, and so if I'm looking at this from the C9 perspective, I don't know if I'm walking away 100% convinced that, like, we lost in draft because there were so many opportunities to get better leads and better plays.
So unlike the previous series that we'd seen in the quarterfinals, you'd be okay with running this back?
I'm still kind of like debating it in my head because on the one hand, I don't know if you want to run it back and give TSM the chance to adapt even better because both teams can react to what happened in this game, and TSM can say, okay, we don't want to lose our bot lane turret at 10 minutes against the Quinn. Let's figure out some stuff we can do to help there.
I'm afraid if you run it back, that I think this one might have been one of the first times Bjergsen's played Akali versus Zilean.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to have like the near death that he had, and they're not going to have to use Shen ulti to save him. So you might not even get that opportunity to dive bot early. And then, once you get to mid game, I just don't see how you're going to stop, TSM's kind of ball comp and be able to, sustain in fights when you have to deal with the Sion front line.
That's the biggest part I'm debating with is, like, I think this series will largely come down to team fighting. Yeah. And that's why for TSM, my win condition was make sure you always end up with a better team fight. Yeah. And I think here you kind of saw that work out. And as much as I saw C9 could have done a lot more stuff in the early game, but now that we're talking about it more, I'm like, yeah, I don't think you want to run that
You don't
back.
run this one back.
You can have a better early game and maybe snowball, but like this series does feel like a team fighting series.
Listen, I thought C9 was a big favorite coming into the series, and that either the C9 rookies wouldn't necessarily play that well in this game, or that TSM's clutch experience was going to come in big to try and swing it. And here, like, Grig actually, as a rookie, played pretty solidly. And I thought Blaber had one of his worst games ever. Like, he's only played 9.
It's not that powerful
It's
of a
one
team.
of the worst games ever because he was on Nocturne, he had the potential to snowball, he had lanes that had great gank assist. He ends 1-5-5 on Nocturne.
I think that's magnified by the fact that C9 spent their first 3 bans on junglers against Grig. Only the Kindred ban coming through from TSM in those first 3, and yet still Grig seemed to outperform Blaber in the first game of this series. And so this is where I turn to you guys and looking ahead to game 2, ask, what is the possibility or the likelihood that C9 does look at utilizing that sub-roster or the bench players of Sven and Golden Glue, or one or the other, doesn't have to be both, as a package deal?
If they're serious about the 7-man roster, I think you put Sven in. There's probably, it depends how scrims have been going, there could be a lot of resistance, like, oh, we don't want to overreact after one game, and that game was really about dragon control, but like, Sven is still a good jungler. I think you could put him in, but then you also have to ask the question of, is it time to put Golden Glue in? Because Jensen, I thought, had a pretty good game.
All right, well, I have an answer for you just as quickly as I asked the question. TSM has elected to stay on red side, and there will be no substitutions for this game. So, to your point, Jed, it looks like C9 is keeping the faith in the the roster that they just threw up on the Rift, saying, hey, it's more about execution and in-game stuff that we need to clean up.
Yeah, and like we were talking about, there, you can totally change up your ban phase. You don't need to target Grig. He performed on the Gragas. It was also weird because they went away from that strategy by not continuing to ban out junglers in the second phase. They let him get Gragas after banning out so many tanks. And Gragas is still a fine champion, so what did the first 3 bans really accomplish? I think there's, in the draft, a lot of things that they can do different. Still on blue side, still with Blaber and Jensen.
It almost makes me think that they had an original game plan to play Hecarim with the Zilean, but then because it got banned out, they had to default to Nocturne. So I'm not even sure that this is what they initially wanted.
Right.
I think they're going to have to readjust things because, picking Gragas jungle is like obviously still a good pick, and I think doing 3 bans just to end up with that is not going to help.
Yeah, I mean, TSM has this massive Kaisa priority because it's an amazing late game pick. They're still going to want to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Has Sneaky played very much Kaisa, though?
Not a ton. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
He's focused a lot more on Quinn and those kinds of things.
So what happens if C9 does adjust to a more late game team fighting focused scenario? Because if you're saying like that's what TSM should continue to do, I think the series is going to come down to the team fights in the late game. Is C9 better at that style if they start to draft towards that style?
I would think they've cleaned up a lot in the recent weeks with their team fighting.
Yeah, I wish it was that simple. I think obviously TSM thought they'd be able to run over TSM early game. If C9 drafts a late game team, they should still be able to win early game. And then yes, they would be able to win that late game style if it goes to 35 minutes. But it's all up in the air and it's all about what you practiced.
Game 1 goes the way of TSM. Will be